When it comes to the agenda, we'll be primarily focusing on these things like the implementation sequence, the standard success factors, employee central implementation sequence of steps, what SAP recommends, followed by the way how the employee hiring in the employee central module happens. So looking at the various sections of information that we can actually capture in the EC hiring process. And then we also get started with our org structure configuration, which might even get extended to the next week. Okay. So this is your agenda.
Show me one example by inserting one field in XML for succession or copy data model. Any one example could you please, because we should know how to add one field.
That's what we have seen. For succession data model, we need not do on the XML. We have the content in the option. Succession data model, no, there is no point of doing it through XML because we are required to do the additional coding in it. Where we don't do the coding. So corporate data model itself is where just to enable the visibility of a field. There also we are not going to add a new field or we are not going to do any coding. As I shown you, we have the fields already pre-delivered by SAP. They are already kept in the hidden mode. We enable the visibility. That's it. Okay. That is what. If you want that, we can do it.
Yeah, please one example.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
Getting into the instance. Now first to start with the question of our friend. So how can we do the addition of a field in the corporate data model? So now first I want to ask, if I want to work on corporate data model, so if I really add a field in any of the object in the corporate data model as one more custom field, where do I find it in the front-end instance? If I add
manage organization, pay and job structure.
Excellent, guys. So that is what we have been looking at, where we have this field which will clearly define the navigations. So for the legacy foundation objects is where it comes from the corporate data model. So now in the corporate data model, now if we try to work on any new addition of fields, so that is where you can find it on the manage org job pay structures, the front end screen. Okay. So for that, let's go for the system where we'll open that org job pay structures. Okay. So now we have locations, we have pay components, pay grades, multiple fields. So let me open an existing pay grade. Okay. Randomly, I just selected some pay grade, and these are the around 6 fields we are having currently on the screen. Now, if I want to have one more field, the 7th field here, some custom field I want to have it, is where we have to take the corporate data model from where the screen fields are defined. So whenever you are working on the corporate data model or any XML files, guys, do not go with the ones that are already present in your system. Already you might be having some file that is present in your system. So don't use that. Every time it is recommended as a best practice, make sure you are going to the provisioning of that particular system. Download the latest one from your customer system itself. So let me just log into the provisioning system again because this is logged out already. Just give me a moment. So this is the provisioning system, and the second system is the one for which I am working on the front end. So this is a company name as latest demo. Let me just click on the hyperlink of it. It enters into that company specific page, and once we are into this company specific page, so we can navigate to an area in the name of succession management. Where in the succession management, the corporate data model, here is the 4th one, import export corporate data model. So let me just go into it. From here, we can export the existing one. Whatever might be the existing one, I can click on submit. So the one existing will be downloaded into the system. So one that got downloaded is what we can use for enhancing it, updating it, any changes in it can be done, and that can be uploaded back into the SuccessFactors system. Okay. So going into the downloads, this is the one. Let me open it with brackets XML editor. Taking time, just a moment. So this is the XML file, guys, where we have multiple objects. These entire lines of code is around 34,371 lines of corporate data model code, and in which we are going to work on the pay grade related object, where here we have the pay grade object. This is all. Okay. So pay grade. So for pay grade is where on the front end currently we have 3 fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the date field around max 7 fields is what we have here. Let's go and check here in the system as well. First the pay grade object along with its labels, then get the fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 string, and these are the custom fields from here. Okay, where the field called end date will never appear on the front end. That is only at a system level that will be present. Okay, now these are the other fields. These are all the custom fields for which the coding has been pre-delivered by SuccessFactors. In that, among the custom fields already, there is one field that has been already used actually, which is here the custom string one, which is in the name of code underscore string, that is already being displayed here, code underscore string. That has been already used. It has been already utilized. Okay. Now, on top of it, now we can have one more custom field, which is also in invisible mode. I can make it editable. Editable, both is what we have to give. The visibility both means it will be visible and even editable. That way, and with whatever label you want. So if you expand this field, you will get the label custom string 2 as a standard one. Here I'll just add it as custom date. What is today's date? June 19, right? Custom June 19 is what I keep. With this label, the field should come on the front end appear on the front end, where not only here, I can also make sure the labels are updated in the respective other English languages as well, like English UK, English US. This one, the British English. The British English EN_GB is also updated. That way, I made a change and I'm going to save this XML. Okay, update it. Let's go to the provisioning system and upload it back with the updated one, which is saved also. We will browse for that and we'll update it. So let me just select it from my downloads folder where I actually downloaded this XML file. I just selected the file from my downloads folder and now I click on submit, where I did not make any changes in between, any other changes. The proper change is what I made, so there will be no XML errors. Also should not be coming. Still processing. Corporate data model has been uploaded successfully. Now for experiencing that change is where we'll just go to the same place. Now in this front end, we'll refresh it. The pay grade screen, which is the current screen, we are refreshing it. And now one more new field is expected to be coming. Let us see whether it has reflected or it is going to take some time. Let's open it randomly. Yes, it got immediately reflected. Custom June 19 as a pretext. Where we haven't done any coding here. It's just enabling of an existing coding which is kept as visibility as none. We have kept it to both, where the field is visible and even editable. Where for this custom field, they kept the visibility as viewable. Currently at this point, it is on view mode. You see this visibility as view. That's why that custom field is appearing, but it is on a view mode. The one that we have done now is visible and even editable. I can enter the data there. So this is how we can handle just a small change of visibility and giving our own label. Nothing more than that.
In the above one code string H04 is there, that is only viewable, right? Then how did they maintain this data H04?
At one point of time, it might be editable. Now it is viewable.
They might have changed again after maintaining data. They will change it in XML.
Exactly.
Okay. So if that is the case in for clients, if we make it view only, then how is it visible for the client to maintain the data?
If there is any field, once we have done all the data imports in the implementation phase, later on, if company has decided once the go live is done, no user should be able to touch this field.
Okay.
Then we keep it as read only. For read only fields, data imports also will happen.
Okay.
Okay. Front end editing will not happen. Mass uploads will happen.
Okay. Understand. So thanks.
Yeah. So now guys, getting into the next topic, which is first thing is to look at the implementation sequence of steps of Employee Central module. So this is the one. For the Employee Central module, there are a standard 14-step implementation sequence of steps. These are that. Where the first 2 steps are common for any module consultant, guys. The first 2 steps, it might be the provisioning, it might be EC consultant, recruitment module, any other module or anyways. First 2 things like setting up the provisioning. So whatever are the minimum mandatory XML files that you have to import, activations, checkboxes that you have to do, all that are common. That is the first step. And then we have to create our own admin ID. We have to create our own admin ID. That is, even that we saw in our implementation, in the introduction to master level topics. We even had a look into it where we will be able to generate our own instance account. For provisioning account, we raise a request to SAP. But once we get the provisioning access, for instance access, we create our own ID. That is the second step. So these are common, nothing module specific. From here, the module specific start, where, as I've been telling you, whenever we start with Employee Central, first we have to deal with the XML files. So all that 4 XML files related sequence is given here. First, define corporate data model. Define country specific corporate data model is nothing but upload. Basically, we have to upload the standard SF delivered XML files. Corporate data model, country specific corporate data model, succession data model, and country specific succession data model are 4 to be loaded. In between, along with the corporate, MDF objects. Whatever MDF objects you have to deal with, even that, because we know that many of the MDF objects came out of the corporate data model and they were in the MDF platform. So in that MDF objects level, it might be the divisions, business units, divisions, departments, all that wherever you have to make any work on it, even that you can deal with. That is the first 4 data models and the foundation objects is what we'll work on. During the same phase, along with these data models, we can also work on the associations, a concept called associations, used for setting up the org structure of the company. When it comes to SuccessFactors or any other HR product, setting up the org structure of the company is important. So the org structure config, a very important one, will be happening in the name of associations. Okay, so we'll be looking into that as well. And then once all the 4 data models are done, the customization of the data models you are doing and all, parallelly you can work on custom objects. Apart from standard SF delivered objects, custom objects, or even if you want to have custom portlets, the customer is asking you to create a custom portlet to store some other information of their employees specific to their company, so that we will be having the custom portlets also created. We'll even look into that. And then comes a topic called Picklist Center, which will deal with all the drop-down values, guys, across the success factors. This Picklist Center is not a concept applicable only to EC. Across this entire SuccessFactors suite of modules, wherever you have drop-down fields, we call them as Picklist fields. And all the drop-down values as Picklist values and all. So how do you handle the drop-down fields and the drop-down values, their translations, all that is what we deal under the concept called Picklist Center. That is one topic we will be looking at. And then till here what we do is the basic vanilla flavor of the system. The minimum basic system is what we designed till here. To add fine-tuning into it, to add user-friendliness, to have validations, automations, all that, you have these 3 main important topics, 9, 10, and 11, which is all about the rules. We have a concept called rules, business rules. So using that business rules concept, we will be able to achieve these 3 points, which are very much important in the real time. Even in the interview perspective, certification perspective, every time they are very much important. And even a scoring area where almost 25% of your exam content, 25%, that is out of 20 out of 80 questions will be coming from these 3 topics. Okay. So it'll almost take around 1.5 weeks for us for the discussion on these 3 topics. We'll be looking into it, which is all about rules, validations, automation, workflows, approvals to be triggered, all that. And then you have RBPs, which is nothing but role-based permissions, where in the introduction to master level sessions, we already discussed about how do we create the permissions in the SuccessFactors system. Specific to EC, what are the permissions and all to discuss? We have that topic again. And then bulk imports. So how can we do the bulk import of data? It might be employee data or the foundation data, anything. How do you bulk import? Okay. So that is where you have importing of import options, which can be applicable for both guys. So it might be, say, example, your customer has 40 departments, 20 divisions. So all the departments, divisions, locations, all this data also you can import. Even employee data. Your customer has 1,000 employees or 10,000 employees. Every employee record can be uploaded through bulk import. Okay. And finally, we have the option of synchronization, HRIS sync job. This HRIS sync job is something, whenever you hire the employees, all the data will be stored in the EC system. But that EC database, if it is to be used by the other talent modules as well. So the data synchronization from EC to the talent modules will happen through the sync job. The data from EC will be communicated to the downstream other modules like PMGM, compensation, all that. Okay, that way. So further, this synchronization job will be used. Yeah. So these are the 14-step implementation sequence of steps that we basically follow in the core employee central implementation process. And on top of it is where we'll be also looking into the position management and leave management, the way how the time off concept will be configured. Even that we'll be looking at, but that will be out of the core employee central content. So once these 14 steps are done is where we'll go for those add-on topics. Okay, so these are 14 steps, which will be the standard implementation sequence that SAP will be describing. So it is important that we have a clarity on these steps. So when we are going with our configuration sessions also, one by one, we'll be covering up all these topics. Okay, and then next thing is, now we are going to do all these sequence of steps of config and all for employee central module with a prime agenda to have a system configured with all the options to capture the employee data, maintain the employee data, manage the employee data, right from hiring till the separation of the employee from the company, for handling all that. So end of the day, to do it, we need to have a process for capturing the employee data. It is nothing but hiring an employee. So how do I hire an employee in the system is what that we are going to see now. So the end product, after doing all this employee central configuration, the end product, what we are going to expect is a system to hire the employees, maintain their data, all that. But that hiring process is what we are now going to do and see first before we enter into the configuration sessions. And that topic is nothing but this: add new employee. We search with this add new employee. This is the one that you're going to do. Where you will be having to fill almost 4 different categories of employee information, guys. Total around 4 different categories of employee information is to be filled in while you are hiring an employee, which will be the identity information first, followed by personal, job, compensation, all this. Total 4 different categories of employee information is what we have to capture. That will cover most of the information of an employee. And to start with, first thing is identity, which will give you the option to first enter the date of joining, and where this can be, it will be defaulted with the current date, guys. If you want to even do the hiring with the post dated, if there is an employee going to join from 1st of July, so even few future dated you want to hire, or there is an employee already joined the 13th, last Monday itself, and you want to hire him in the system with the backdated also, if you want to hire, you can definitely pause it. And now with the current itself, I'll continue. And here in the company is where we have to choose and under which company we are going to hire. That is, if it is an organization with only their presence in one country, you just have one company, say like ABC Corporation India Private Limited, some ABC Corporation India Private Limited, like that. You just have one single company. Whereas if you implement for MNC organizations like Coca-Cola, they have Coca-Cola India, Coca-Cola US, Coca-Cola Australia, has multiple entities. Then you get multiple values in the drop down. It depends upon the company. For the project size, the customer category depends upon whether they have one entity or multiple entities like this. Where in this current system, if you treat Western is the company name, Western Colombia, Western France, Western Germany, Western Hong Kong, these are the multiple legal entities. Now if I'm going to hire an employee in India, Western India is what I choose. And then I have the event reason, which is going to tell me about the reason for hiring. So in this add new employee screen, the actual activity what you're doing is hiring. So for hiring, the reason for hiring is what it asks you as the event reason. So event is hire. Event reason is this drop down you have to choose. So the reason for hiring is a new hire, or it is international transfer. That is from India to US an employee got transferred, or from US to Canada an employee got transferred. That kind of international transfer, or it is acquired employee. That is, your company has acquired another company in the market, and that company employees database is going to be merged into your database. So when you are recording that company employees data in your database, so you are going to record them as acquired employees, not new hires. They are not hired today, newly. They are already in the existing jobs, but we are integrating their database into our database. If there is an employee joined in this group company in 5 years back, now he will be hired in my system with the past dated 2017 record. 2017 record is what I maintain in the system with acquired employee, saying the date of joining us 2017. Exactly. So we'll have a clarity of how many people coming into the system every year, and how many are complete new hires, how many are international transfers, how many are acquired employees. We get that clarity. For the better analytics and all, this event reason will be used actually. Okay, so we will definitely discuss on this event reason concept down the line. Where as of now, it's just an introduction of how can you actually maintain, what kinds of values it maintains. Okay. And next we have the details, like you have to maintain the name, like first name, middle name, last name, all these things, where you have this option. And I'll just take somebody's name for. So I'm just hiring the name of Abdul Khan, some salutation as Mr. Date of birth. So where I'll get some date of birth, where date of birth. Where here, this date of birth field, guys. So if I'm going to enter somebody's date of birth as say 2006. 2006 is even take less than that from 2015, say example. It's only 7 years old. So system, if I'm going to give the input, it is taking here, but should not be taken. A 7 years old kid, you should not be hiring. Here we can trigger some validations and errors. So that is also a concept that we'll be looking at in our employee central in our business rules topic of sessions. But now here we have, I'll just get it back as of now. Something randomly, country of birth in India. Person ID is nothing but an employee ID, guys, where either we can have it auto generated or we can enter it manually. 99% any organization would expect it to be auto generated. Nobody will give you an option of, nobody will ask you an option of manually assigning it. Definitely it will be a system auto generated. So we leave it blank and go ahead so that after we fill the entire data and we submit, system can auto generate this ID. That is one thing. And next is the username through which you can be able to log into the SuccessFactors system. Now, as all of you are having a login ID, how are you logging into the SuccessFactors instance? So that login ID is nothing but the username. Where some companies say whatever is the person ID, the employee ID that is being generated, same thing is a username. Some companies will have a different thing. Okay. So either somebody, now if it is say Abdul Khan as the name, company will say it as a combination of first name with concatenated with the first letter of, it's a combination of a concatenated value with the first name and the first letter of the last name. Like they'll ask you in this way, or some other combinations also they can come up with, or whatever is the employee ID being generated, that also they maintain it later as the same value. It depends upon. And then comes the national IDs, where you can maintain for which country. Say now you are an Indian born, say example, then I choose India. And in India, the country specific card types is what system is going to bring me. India is with Aadhaar and PAN numbers. And if it is not India, if you're going to maintain the social, if you are currently working in US, okay, example, you're going to maintain the United States national ID that you have, the social security number. Like that, country specific system will automatically update this. That is what we have been discussing in the country specific succession data model as well. So now as I'm doing a Indian hiring, I'm choosing India related. I'm just using some PAN number. I'll maintain some PAN number. Following the same format of the 10 character ID, I maintained it. So at any point of time, minimum 1 and maximum 1 should be primary, guys. So minimum 1 record should be primary, maximum also 1 record should be primary. If you have only 1, that should be primary. When you have 2, one of them should be primary. First one is primary, next one is no. If first one is no, then second one should be primary. Something. At any point of time, 1 should be definitely primary and the max also 1. So this is the identity information, guys. The first category identity part, which is going to basically capture your details like first name, last name, your employee ID, your national IDs. All these are the identity part. Finishing this information, if you click on continue, you will be opened up with the second category called the personal information. National ID is not select all. That's what you see this. When I kept it as no, and when I click on continue, it's saying, please set 1 record as primary for national ID information. So 1 record I kept it as no, that's why it gave me that warning. I have to keep it as at least minimum 1 as primary. Now when I continue, it opens up the second part called the personal information, where by the time personal information comes up, you scroll up. The first part, identity information part, is all turned into read only. And you have the tick mark saying that this section is completed. You can collapse it and continue with the second area. Okay. Whereas here in the second area now, you have the gender, marital status, language, nationality, these kinds of fields, guys. And now if you see here, without we filling anything, automatically by the time the screen came here, nationality as Indian and language as Hindi has been all automatically populated. This is again based on the business rules, because in the previous identity level, I have given the nationality, the country of birth as India, because the country of birth is taken as India. In the next screen, nationality as India and the preferred language of India as Hindi has been automatically taken. That is achieved through business rules, data automation. But still, if you want to make a change, you are still authorized to change, not a problem. This is basically trying to reduce the time. By automating some fields, it is going to reduce some time. That's it. Now I'll just maintain some gender, some marital status. So if you want to have any marriage certificate or any date of birth certificates kind of things uploaded, you can even upload that. Where SuccessFactors will allow you any file format of upload. It might be PDF, PPT, Excel, images, anything will be uploaded. But the file size will be 5 MB For one file, it is 5 MB in size, max. Okay, you can upload 10 files also, not a problem. But one file, max 5 MB is the attachment size. Okay, that is it. And then next going on, we have this, here we have, next area is a global information, which I told you the country specific personal information while we are discussing succession, country specific succession data model. So if you have anything to fill country specific, you can, else not mandatory.
Hey, you know, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features? Bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
We can skip that area. On the right hand side, you have delete icon. We can skip that area of information. As at a hiring point, if you don't have anything, later on, if you want to maintain also, you can, like that. In the personal information category, guys, majority of the data is not mandatory while hiring, like email IDs, phone numbers, address details of the employees, emergency contacts, dependents. All these types of informations are completely optional while you're hiring. Once your hiring has been done, you can ask the employee to directly maintain the data. Instead of HRs doing all this job of data entry and taking a lot of time, they can skip all this information. Now, address data also, there is an empty record that got added like this. I can skip it away. I can delete it or skip it and continue. So personal information level, everything is optional at the hiring stage. Later on, we ask the employee to directly fill in, because in EC, we give the license to every employee. They can fill their all personal details like addresses, contacts, all this. Okay. So that way we have this personal information, but let me show you how the fields look like. So for email, you have these types. We have these types, business, other, personal and all, the respective email ID. And here we have this primary. Same way like in other portlet, like a national ID portlet user. Here also you have this. Here also you have this primary indicator where a minimum one record should be primary. If you don't maintain any record, that's okay. But if you maintain a record, minimum one should be primary. That is it. So now this is where I'm going to maintain some personal email ID or business email ID, anything. Most of the time while we are doing the hiring, we'll not have the business email ID, guys. We'll only have personal. Because if we are going to hire an employee, IT department would require some time to generate our personal, our official email ID. So then we go with the personal in the hiring. Later on, they can maintain the business ID that way. Okay, same applies to the phone numbers, where you have this primary indicator. Minimum one number should be primary. More than one when you are maintaining, one should be maximum primary. So this way, we have this phone types, multiple phone types, where these types can also be configured, guys. That is what we see under the topic called pick list. So the different email types, different phone types, all these can also be controlled. We can customize the list. Okay. And then we get the address details. Even in address, we have multiple types of addresses. These are all the different types of addresses that we get, billing and all. Where in the type of address, based on the country that you choose, again the country specific address fields will come, which we already saw in the country specific succession data. Okay. Then on is the emergency contacts. So the other area is the primary emergency contacts, guys, where these primary emergency contacts, normally people get confused with the dependents details. That is different. Where emergency contacts can be even your friends and even your roommates. If you're working in an abroad, you're an Indian, you're working in US. So even your roommate in US or a close friend or a neighbor in US can also be a primary emergency contact. Okay. So the relationships you see in the emergency contacts will be simple, like child, parent, sibling, spouse, and other also will be given. Where other is what you can use for friends, roommates, the neighbors, all that. Whereas when it comes to the actual dependents, you have retained relationships, which will be in the sibling, they clearly give you brother or sister. In the parents, they give you mother or father clearly. Even the divorced spouse, divorced partner, registered partner, related persons, like this, we have multiple genders. Okay. So this is all. Now we have the difference between the dependents relationships and the primary emergency contact relationship. The different values. where we can maintain all these basic self-explanatory fields like first name, last name, relationship, date of birth. And if you have any relationship certificate like marriage certificate and all, you can upload all this. Where all these areas of information are completely optional at the hiring level. Only these two fields are mandatory, preferred language and nationality. So these two we fill in, and rest all we can skip it if you don't have the data, or if the HR wants to save some employee hiring time, they can skip this and continue. Later ask the employee to fill in directly once the employee got the access to the system after hiring. And then we continue and that enter into the third area called the job information, guys. Where during the job information, it is all about the company related details. That is, this employee is working in which position in the company, in which department, which location, who is the manager, who is the HR, like these various other things are under the job information. Which is going to speak about the employee's job in this company is the job information. We have a lot of fields in that, where, as I already told you previously also, job information is one big portlet. It's one entire central portlet. This job information is not simply a category, it's a portlet. This position related information, like which position you are working, when did you enter into that position, how much time you spent in that position, these fields, followed by org information fields, actual job information fields. At the bottom, you have something called time information fields. All these are part of a central portlet called as job information, guys. Here they appear as a subheadings. We think that org information is one portlet. We think job information is one separate portlet. Time information is one portlet and all. Actually, these are all subsections within the central job information as a portlet. Within the job information portlet, there is a subsection called job information again. But actual portlet itself is called job information. Within the job information, these are all the subsections within the central portlet. It is the very biggest portlet, almost 60-70 fields you have in this portlet. Now, if you are going to hire an employee, if you have to maintain all this, employee belongs to which company, in that company, which business unit, which division, department, location, employee's manager, his job title, various things if you have to maintain, it's again time consuming, where that is also automated based on the position that you select. Once you choose to hire an employee against a particular position, guys, as soon as you select that position, system will be able to bring you the list of all the fields updated based on the position that you have chosen. So the entire org information is populated. In the job information, you have this job title, salary grade, regular or temporary, all these populated like this. We'll be able to maintain all the data. So how does this actually getting filled in automatically is where we'll understand when we are dealing with the position management concept. So as of now, based on the position selection is where it is all automated is what you have to understand. Okay. So it is one line. So there are multiple fields. So in the one line to say all these fields in the job information area are basically going to define the employee's details in this job. The way in this company, how is he fitting into this company, in which layer, in which hierarchy, to whom he is reporting to, what is his grade, everything is all maintained in this part. Okay. And then comes the time information. So for you to deal with the leave management application and attendance in the system, so what are the informations, time information that you should be assigned? Like what is your working times? What is your overtimes? Okay, what leave types you are eligible to apply? All that will be driven through this time information related section of information. We have something called as time profiles, work schedules, holiday calendars, all this. So even these fields, you'll have a better clarity when we deal with the time off part, the leave application configuration. We'll have an understanding of what are these fields. And then we have the employment details, guys. So employment details is basically the fields which will be, majority of them will be date fields, guys. Dates. So hire date is the first thing, the main important thing, the date of joining of the employee, since when the payroll will be effective. On top of it, you'll have different other dates, like the first date worked in the company, original start date, seniority start date, benefits, like this multiple dates, where every customer would not require all these dates. So we'll remove the unwanted date fields and we'll only continue with the required fields. Okay. Then hire date is first date worked, original start date. These things is where if you want to relabel, you can even relabel. So first date worked, it's only first date or original start date. They keep it as the date from which actually the employee is assigned to the work. Prior to that, he might be on bench initially, or it might be in trainings or induction programs initially, whatever. When did he actually start from working is what we can capture. like first date, worked hours, no start date, anything. And apart from that, there will be some common requirement in the Middle East countries, guys, where whenever there is somebody traveling from the other countries into either Saudi or Dubai or anywhere on their company provided visa, if date of joining is first of the month, but he has arrived the 25th of the previous month itself, 1 week earlier, so that date also has to be captured. The date of your arrival into the territory or into the boundary also has to be recorded in the system. They ask us to relabel it as first arrival date. They'll be asking us to relabel one of these fields as first arrival date, where they'll be capturing the actual date on which the employee landed into the company on our visa. So his date of joining is after 1 week also, we'll capture it. That way, we'll have the employment details portrait with all the date fields. And here is the job relationships, where apart from the reporting manager, your only immediate reporting manager is maintained in the job information portlet in the name of supervisor. Apart from that, any other relationships like HR, matrix manager, etc., everything will be under this job relationships portlet. Here, when you click on add, here you have this drop down, all this. Additional managers, custom manager, HR manager, matrix manager, all this. These are the different relationships that you can maintain against one employee. Only immediate reporting manager is in the job info. Rest all are in the job information portlet. A very important point to note. Okay. Rest all relationships are in the job relationships. And then finally comes the work permit information. So this is a portlet where you can maintain any work permit details. If you have got the visa of any other country, you got a work visa or a work permit or a business visa or whatever, you have something that you can store in the system. The visa details of any other countries, you can record them here, where you can give the country, which countries is that, document type, document title, document number, all this. It's all same like the when visa is given to you, the way you have all this issue date, issuing authority, issue place, expiry date of it, all that is what you are going to have it here. And based on this expiry date, you can also have alerts configured. If there is something that is going to expire, your visa is going to expire in next 2 months or in next 45 days or anything, you want system to send out an email reminder about the visa expiry to the HR in the company or any reporting manager so that they can take care of the visa renewal process and all, is where we'll deal with this expiration date. Okay. So filling all these categories of information, which are speaking about the entire employee's job information and the employee's data in the system. That is the third part. Continuing it is where we'll be entering into the final part, the compensation. Any questions still here? We have
The job information as the main portrait. Under that, we have all the subsections, right? So in this one, like in org information, job information, like the fields are getting auto-populated based on the position that we select.
Yeah.
Now, or like in the time of that section, the holiday calendar, work schedule, those are getting kind of auto-populated. So all these things should primarily be based upon some groupings that we normally do in like SAP HCM previously. We used to, auto-populate them through features, and before that we used to do the grouping based upon certain similarities. Okay, employee grouping, personal area, sub-area grouping. So do we use the similar concept in SF at the background of all these settings, or we have that called as business rules over here?
Exactly, it's a business rule. So in SuccessFactors, we don't do any grouping and all. So for the position level, when I chosen the position, what all fields got updated, it's all as a part of position management. We'll be capturing it. Whenever you create a position, you capture all that. Okay, so for this position called analyst, I created this position for Bangalore location or Chennai location or Chicago location and maintain it. Similarly, this location is for which department, which division, to which position this position reports to in the company. All that will be defined already in the position level. So that based on that, system will be able to auto-populate this. So that is a one-liner definition at this point, but the position management will deep dive into that position, but not as a group. Okay, position level masking level, I have all the data. This position is for this department, this location and all. So when I hire an employee in that position, obviously he will inherit all that attributes. Now I created a position for Bangalore. If I recruit you in that position, your location is Bangalore. Right. You can't work from Chennai office. So that is what system is going to do But when I have all the master data maintained at the position level, when I select the position, through business rules, it will read the position data and push it into the employee record.
So system reads the position data means the position codes will be different in org structure when we create the positions under org structure. So let's say in Bangalore, we have this particular analyst role as ended with 878. Now let's for Chennai, it is 879. So that particular analyst position will be connected with the Chennai location in the org structure.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
And when it comes to this time information, it is not from the job. It is going to be based on these parameters. If employee belongs to this location, this country and all. So based on that, he will be having this job information. Again, these are through business rules. Again, this is not a particular data maintained somewhere, but in the business we'll hard code all that.
Okay, got it now.
So my question is related to the hiring. As you have mentioned at very top, that we have to fill, that the personal detail of the particular new hiring. So my question is, can't we integrate, the joining portal something with this tool, or SuccessFactor having, that hiring portal something kind of tool?
That's what definitely you can do it. But now currently we are discussing as an Employee Central as a module, as an independent module. Have other systems, integration is quite possible, as we already highlighted that point as well initially. Integration for inbound integration or outbound integration, everything is possible. But when if a customer is implementing Employee Central alone, definitely we need to fill it, right? And our current context is also Employee Central. It's not mandatory that every customer is implementing recruitment management of SF. If there are clients in EC, there might be only 40 clients using recruitment of SF. So in that case, they'll be directly doing the manual hiring. Okay?
Yeah, one more for that. I just want to know that, that everything you have mapped with position. So whatever this configuration is a part of Employee Central, or this is a part of some other module, like position, like holiday calendar, shifts, the way we maintain, the daily work schedule, PWS, DWS in SAP HCM. So all this is a part of the Employee Central.
Employee Central extended areas. Position management is also Employee Central extended area. Time management is also Employee Central extended area. So in that, we'll be configuring and integrating into this.
So will you explain us how you have, that the map, everything with the position and holiday calendar, all this, whatever that.
I already told this. Position level is where it will all happen. Currently, we are directly maintaining it. But when we are discussing position management is where we discuss how this happened, how this data flow here and all. I already mentioned that point. Okay.
Fine.
So now finally, guys, once we finish all these areas of information, the job information as well, when you continue, it goes into the final area, which is the job, the compensation, the salary information part, the final area. So I'm clicking on continue. Just give me a second. Looks like some config issue. Let me just try if I can fix it quickly.
If my client has a specific requirement where in the hire information where we hire employees or hire information where we incorporate hire information there, say US has something called e-verification process. So there's an e-verification number once a employee gets hired. Okay. So just because since this screen will be for the HRs when they add new employee, so where can the hyperlink can be mentioned there somewhere, if this is a client requirement that there has to be a hyperlink immediately where HR can go click and then complete the e-verification and add that e-verification number. So is it
if you want, a custom field can be given for entering the e-verification number, but a hyperlink to redirect to somewhere and all, we don't give it here. So now I just done some config change. Let me see will that work or not. Let me continue. Some quick fix is what I've done. Yes, lucky. It worked. So now finally we enter into the final part, which is the compensation information, which is going to give you a place to enter all your details like salary details. Like here in the compensation, you can maintain your basic pay, your allowances like HR allowance, HR allowance, vehicle allowance, dress allowance, food allowance, kind of any other things that can be given. All that can be recorded in here in the compensation section. Apart from that, some other things like is this employee eligible for benefits in the company, for the company car. Okay, like this, if you want to have any details maintained, SF has given few fields, but doesn't mean that everybody would require these fields. So if unwanted fields, we can completely hide them. Okay. If any other additional fields to be added also, here on the top, we can add them. And pay group is nothing but for the people of SAP HCM background, it's your payroll area. So the way how you want to group your employees, you can do that. Now I'm doing the Indian hiring. So India related if I search, so it's India monthly employees is one grouping I have. So all the employees of this India monthly will be, we can execute the payroll for all of them in one single shot, kind of. So that's the pay grouping. So normally, if you want to have the people with the same payroll terms to be clubbed up, we use the payroll grouping concept, pay grouping concept, so that all the employees of India who are monthly paid will be one group. US employees with monthly paid as one group, US employees with weekly paid as one group. Like that, we can have multiple groupings done. And here we'll maintain the salary details like the basic pay, HRA, all that. Now, in Indian case of hiring, so basic salary India is what one component is. Next, followed by you can have this allowances like HRA India. You have conveyance India. Then we have this flexi pay, any flexi pays or PF Provident Fund India, like this, we can also maintain the car allowances, all this. So anything that you maintain, so you maintain the amount. So example, I maintain some 50,000 as the basic pay example. The currency is what you're going to give it in INR or USD and all. So obviously, we give it as INR in India, choose the currency. And that 50,000 you entered is for a month or a year or for a week. What is the frequency? Is what we can have the list of all the frequencies here. And whereas the first one is, we'll give the frequency as monthly. And then HRA is also something monthly, like this. You can keep on maintaining the respective components. HRA is 5,000 example. And then from 800. If 800, I can again maintain that monthly 800. Like this, we can keep on maintaining different allowances. And any deductions from your salary, if anything has to be deducted, recurring deductions or one-time payments, one-time deductions, all the things can be captured as well here. So normally, if any joining bonus is going to be given for the employee, that one-time payments can be done through this joining bonus option. So capturing all the salary information and all is where we will be able to submit the employee record. Or else, now if you see this entire employee hiring process, maintaining all these details, explaining, it almost took 30 minutes, where even in the real time, if the HRs are going to do it frequently also, they would minimum require 10 minutes for filling all these and hiring the employees. To go across these 4 areas and complete this process, it would minimum take 10 minutes. So in that 10 minutes of time in between, they have to step out. Okay, if they have some other call or they have a meeting or something, somebody is calling them, they have to go out. So all the data, whatever they filled at till that point, they need not lose it. They have save draft option. In an SAP HCM hiring process, we don't have any draft option. Here we have it. You can keep it as draft, and if you fill 2 areas and the last 2 areas, you can fill at a later point and we can do the hiring. That is where I'm going to keep it as save draft, save as draft. So now this draft, if you want to access it even after a day, after a week, or after a month, you can access it from an option called pending hires. You search with this keyword as pending hires, you get this guys, manage pending hires. So here in this manage pending hires as a screen, on the right hand top, you have an option of filtering, in which we have to filter the plain drafts. Through EC hiring, if you keep anything as draft, plain draft is what you have to choose. We have recruiting drafts, we have onboarding drafts, all that. The normal plain drafts is what you have to take. In which out of these 8 users, 1 should be ours for sure, which we have kept as draft just now in the name of Abdul Khan. The employee that we are hiring is in the name of Abdul Khan. So the very first one, Abdul Khan, has come up with the rate of joining us. It is actually kept on a draft. If I click on this Abdul Khan as a name again, system will take me to the employee hiring screen right from the first screen again. Even from identity, personal information, everything we have to pass once again. But all the data what you have filled last time will be pre-populated and coming like this. So you can continue. You cannot directly collapse also. One by one you have to pass on. After identity, personal information, all this you have to again click on continue. Then comes the job information and then the final compensation. So directly you can't click on submit. Only once you enter into the compensation final part, you get the submit button activated. Now clicking on submit, that's where system will take the data, and for that data, system will actually create a profile and an employee number will also be generated. Compiling all these data, profile is going to be created. So this is how the standard employee central hiring process looks like, covering majority of the important all the areas. And wherever you feel like this is an information that employee is also authorized to fill in, you can leave it and get the employee's update after the date of joining. And what you clearly observe in this process, we have not captured anywhere the fields like education details, certification details, previous organization details. All these are not captured. All that information will not be important at the hiring stage. SF will not even bring that areas into hiring. After the employee is hired, directly on the profile, we can ask the employer to fill all the details. You can't even bring them to the hiring stage. And now it says Mr. Abdul Khan is hired with this date. And next step is you just go on, click on view profile of Abdul Khan, and you can see the profile with whatever data that has been prepared. If you want to continue hiring, you can go for add another employee. And the profile with all the information, whatever we have filled in, system will appear like this. Okay, so this is how the standard employee central hiring process looks like by covering almost all the important majority of the areas, guys.
This is when compared with SAP. SAP, when we are maintaining salary data, pay scale type and pay scale area, pay scale group and level is plays a very key role.
Yeah.
Where do we maintain in employee central?
Well, that is also job related things only. The job information itself, we have all the pay scale type, area, group level, all these things.
Okay. One more thing, Shiva. See, for example, if I am hiring for India, we have important import types from 580 to 589. We have to payroll only again. So where does this import types become?
That will not be here. That will be in the payroll systems only directly.
Okay,
will not have all that 580 series related, the taxation related, anything will not be here. It's only the info type 8, the salary data, 14, 15, any payments and deductions will be captured. That will be captured. Taxation related will not be here. It will be directly in the payroll systems.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And then next thing is where we have to start looking into the org structure setup of employee central, guys. Not only employee central, basically SuccessFactors org structure, I have to say, where that structure will be basically built using all the foundation objects, because it's all about the company data and all. So let me open that org structure related things 1 second. So this is how the org structure will be set up, guys, where the standard SuccessFactors org structure will be something that will be built with these 4 layers: legal entity, under that the business units, under that the divisions, under that the departments, all this. Business units, divisions, departments, all these things will be coming up. Where this can of course be even enhanced. If a customer says I need more layers like sub-departments, sub-business units, subdivisions, anything, we can of course even enhance it, and that we'll be looking at. So first of all, how do we set up the structure with these standard layers? The standard foundation objects that SF has delivered, legal entities, business units, divisions, departments, is what we have to look at. But the first question comes, is this 4-layer structure going to be enough for the companies? And that question is where majority of the companies will go with this, guys. I can say 60% of the companies in the market, even little bit more than that, even I can take, they are okay with the 4-layer structure. In my projects also, almost 8 employee central projects I've worked on. So almost 5 clients are okay with the 4 structures, this 4-layer structure. Only 3 clients I actually made enhancement like additional layer to be brought up. In one customer, it is only 2 layers. Another customer, I brought 4 additional layers. It depends upon. So by studying the market based on the vast experience that SAP had in the ERP software, is where SAP has brought this 4-layer structure. And this can be fit into any organization respective to their line of business, where the first link, legal entity, is nothing but the company. In that company, what are the different lines of business that they have? That is their business units. Line of business is the business unit. And then in that business unit, the divisions that you have, and then under the divisions, the departments and all. Where I guess I've shown you this example last time also. You take Reliance, an Indian organization, as an example. So Reliance has one legal entity. Under that, you have communications and petroleum products as 2 lines of business. But we have more than that as well. Textiles, retail markets, all that. Under that, under communications business unit, you have these 3 divisions. Under these divisions, you have these departments, all this in this manner. Okay. So this is how we will be able to set up the org structure with the standard 4 layers, which is the legal entities, business units, divisions, departments. How do we do that is what we are now going to start looking at. So in that sense, first, if you have to establish a structure and the connectivity between them, guys, first we need to find where these objects are present and how do I work on the data. Like if I say I have 10 departments in the company, I have 20 divisions, I have 5 business units, anything, where do I go and create them is the first thing we have to know. So now where do I create any of these 4 layers, guys?
Manage RP and
manage or job based structure, and you're successfully incorrect. It's manage data. Here is it, guys. MDF objects, legal entity, business units, divisions, departments. These are MDF, not legacy objects. There is a lady who told it as managed data. You are correct. This manage object-based structures is for corporate data model related legacy objects. Okay. Now going to manage data is where you can start working on it. With the managed data.
I have worked for one public company where we had more than 7 layers.
Okay.
So if I want to add 3 more layers, I have to add that in corporate data model, right?
No, it's not corporate data model, and wait for it. Once we complete our discussion on this first 4 standard layers, we'll
Okay.
definitely discuss that as I told you. I'll show you even enhancing that layer. The additional layers also is part of our discussion. We'll definitely see that.
Oh, thanks, sir. Yeah.
So now we work on the managed data, where the first layer is what we saw it as legal entities. So if you have to create the legal entities, you go for the create new on the right hand side, search for create new legal entity, and you go for it. For existing in this demo system, there are some legal entities that are already pre-delivered, and if you want to have a look at it, go for legal entities, and these are the lists that will come.
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
The SF has already given a lot of them, these examples, with Western as a company, Western India, Western Canada, Western China, Colombia, like this, multiple entities are there. Where you take anything, I'll take say Western Japan. This is how it is. The screen contains the start date, when did that business establishment start, and some code, a unique code for every entity, the name, description, whether it is currently active or not, and then some other fields like weekly working or average. These are all average based. On an average, how many weekly hours does this company of employees will work, the currency in which it operates, the country in which it is present, all. So here just giving the label as Western Japan will not be enough, guys. You have to maintain the country as Japan mandatory. That is important. Here you maintain the word as Japan or not, it doesn't bother. So in the legal entity, what country you mention is what it actually matters. Okay. That way, we'll be able to maintain the legal entity with all these fields. Similarly, if you want to maintain a legal entity now, let's click on create new legal entity. Let's go for create new legal entity. I'll just create something, the start date as, if it's a business that got established in say 2012, okay, 2012 example. I'll just maintain it as 01012012. Legal entity ID is where you have to give one unique code, where it can be alphabetic, numeric, alphanumeric, anything, where by default it will accept almost 32 characters of length. If legal entity, department, division, everything will accept almost 32 characters of length by default. But here one recommendation is, we know that most of our SuccessFactors projects will have integration to SAP payroll. Because SuccessFactors is a SAP product, when it comes to payroll, they go for SAP payroll most commonly. So there, the legal entity is where we have to connect it with the company code. And there, as we know, 4 characters is the maximum code that we use. So here also, we maintain some 4-digit code every time. We recommend to use the 4-digit code every time for legal entity. That makes it easy in the integration as well. Okay, the legal entity name, let me just name it as something, ABC Corporation India Private Limited, something as a legal entity name, and then the description as well, a similar way. Description as well, status as active, and then the next important weekly hours and all we can maintain like this. Currency in which operates is an Indian currency. Country is where it's an Indian run business. All this is what we can maintain the important fields and click on save. So this is how the legal entity creation happens, where not only one legal entity. If I want to even create 10 legal entities also, I'll just go for create new legal entity and I'll just initiate it and I'll do it. That's where we'll be able to do the legal entities. Now the next layer in our structure is the business unit. Now if I have to create the business unit, where should I go, gentlemen? Anyone? Business unit creation, where should I go? Anyone?
Manage data.
Exactly, because that is also an additional foundation object along with legal entity. So that is also an MDF foundation object along with the legal entity. The business unit is also accessible under the same managed data. So let us go into the system. Manage data. If you want to create a new business unit, on the right hand side you have the business unit option. Business unit, and these are the screen fields. Start date of the business unit, code, name, description, status, and the head of the business unit. Existing, we also have few business units that are pre-delivered. Let's select something. So retail as a business unit. If you select the start date when this retail business unit has started, code of it, the name of it, description, status, and who is heading that business unit now. These are the fields. Now let me create a new one in front of you. So company got established in 2012. Let me keep this for the, what do you say? This business unit is also established in 2012. Let's see. Code as BU1. Status and head of the unit. So in this, from the existing active employee database, it will allow you to choose anybody. You can choose anyone randomly if you want as head of the business unit. And click on save. So now I created one business unit, and like this you can even create several business units. Okay. Business unit 2, business unit 3, all that. Similar way, the next layer I can create divisions, list of all the divisions, list of all departments, all that. But to establish this org structure, guys, it's not about creating the data independently. List of departments, list of locations, all that is not that way. We need to have a relationship between the data. That is what this relationship in between legal entity and business unit, we have a relationship. Between business unit and division, we have something that has to be created and generated here. Okay. So further, when I created legal entity, it is independent. When I created business unit, even that is business units list is independent. But when you go to the third one, which is divisions here, guys, the third layer has divisions that we have. So here you have divisions which are existing. Let me select one of them and show the result. So this is how here also you have the division field, start date of the division, code, name, description, all that. On top of it, on the bottom, you also have one more thing called business unit. That is, this division falls under which business unit. So this division falls under which business unit is where we can choose the business unit of it. For every division that I create, I have to link it with the respective business unit in the company as a parent layer. Like when you hire any employee, you maintain the employee's manager. Similarly, while you're maintaining the divisions, you have to maintain the respective parent layer business unit also to it. That is where here when I created the division, system has also started giving the business unit for sure. How did this business unit come in? This is basically a demo system which has been already pre-configured with few scenarios. But in a real-time client system, we only have to do it. Even in the business unit screen, the legal screen should come. Now in the business unit related field to come. All this is based on the association configuration. Okay. So now, how did this business unit came here is what we have to know. So how did this business unit came here is when we have a link established. That is what we call the configuration of association. When that is established, we will be able to achieve it. So then for that, here you have these fields coming from. Where are all these fields coming from, guys? Where are all these fields coming from? Anybody? On the division screen, what all I have, where do they come from?
Manage RP job structure. Manage RP job structure.
Manage job and pay structure and manage data are the two answers. Where clearly see this Excel sheet. Manage org job, pay structure, and manage data are for which heading?
Data maintenance.
But what am I asking? On that screen, if you have to create something, what are the screen fields?
Corporate data model.
Which object am I asking?
MDF objects.
Which is that screen then? MDF objects is cool. But what is the place of navigation is a certification question. Configure object definitions, guys. MDF objects, it's correct clearly on the screen. MDF objects. Configure object definition is a place where you define it. And manage data is a place where you maintain the data for it. That way you have all this. Okay. So now on the manage data screen, what all fields should come? They should come from the object definition. Now here on the screen, whatever you have, the division name, the description, status, head of the division, all these are coming from that object definition. Configure object definition. So let me open that as well. If I want to make sure the devices are on here, configure object definition, the very first one. So here I find the object definition of division object. The place where all the other fields are coming, even the division should come down there. Here in this division screen, what all fields are coming? Even this field called products, this field called business unit with products and value should be coming from the same. This is where we have this configure object definition, and here are the fields that are coming. And here you have the association section also as another one more area of config from. And here we'll be able to deal with the associations configuration. So regular fields where they are coming from, if you get to know, the bottom, this when I say this is an association concept, association field, the same screen configure object definition itself you go, and there at the bottom here you have the associations. Okay, that is how we deal with the association configuration from here. So now how is this association happened? Is now in this demo system they have already pre-delivered it, and now for any other objects anywhere it is not maintained, we can maintain it. Now here if you see in the division screen you have the association with the business unit, and similarly when you go to the next fourth layer, which is department is also an MDF object, and you work it on managed data itself. Even on the department you have an association with the division, the parent layer. Don't bother about legal entity. Department is associated with division, even that is already pre-delivered association. Division with business unit is a pre-delivered association, whereas business unit getting associated with legal entity was not given. And this is how the real-time system it will be present. In a client system, when you start your project, legal entity screen will be already there. Business unit screen will already be there. Division screen, department screen, independently they will be there. But this association will not be there. There you have to establish that association with that config that you are required to do. Okay. So for that config is where we do the configure object definition. Now in the first we will see the existing one. In the division screen, if business unit has come, I'll go to the division related association of the division related object definition. This is the one where after all the fields are done, at the bottom you have an association area, and it's just a 4 fields association. A 1-liner association, 4 fields association is what we are required to do here. That's it. Where to which object you are associating, you have to give your parent. Now for division object, the parent is business unit. So that is a destination object as business unit you have to give. Multiplicity, you have 2 things. We have 2 values for the multiplicity. Let me open it in editable mode. It is 1 to 1 and 1 to many. That is, one layer has one more layer as parent, as one layer has two layers as parent is the question. That is, if you see this example, this division has only one business unit. This division also has only one business unit as a parent. But this third division has this side this parent and this side this parent, 2 business units. That is, this division is going to be part of both the lines of business. 1 to many. But every time it may not be the case. You might be, most of the time you will be requiring 1 to 1 only. But there is a technical limitation that anytime a consultant doing a configuration, you should go with 1 to many only. 1 to 1 should never be given by an employee manually. If it is a standard SF delivered, pre-delivered config, 1 to 1 can be used. But if it is anything consultant created new config, 1 to many only should be used. That way 1 to 1 becomes the standard selection in this field, because we don't even have an option to switch back to 1 to 1, where that is a technical prerequisite that SAP states in the SAP documents, and we have to follow it. So to which object it has to be associated, and multiplicity has 1 to many, and gives a name to that association. And it's up to you what name you would like to give. Which name you would like to give is what it's your wish. So you need not have any particular naming convention for that. It's a free text field. You give ABCD, XYZ, blah, blah, anything it will be taking, guys. And then finally, the type of association is where we have 3 values, in which the last one is no longer being in use. Only the first 2 use, composite and valid when. Here, valid when is what we have to use. And you're trying to connect 2 different foundation objects. Valid one is what you have to use, because whatever association we do now, it is also going to have its impact on the employee data level later on. So I'll just show you that. If I go to the employee file, so for this lady called Anya Singh, if I'm going to make any changes into the data transaction, I'll showcase you directly. So here, you see this, guys. Now for corporate as a line of business, these are the divisions that are coming up. Now if I choose the business unit to retail, and then I open this division, you see the different list of divisions are coming up, right? The divisions list has got changed. And if I completely make this business unit blank, I clear the data in the business unit, divisions will say no data. Till now there is drop down values that have been coming, all of a sudden it says no data. That is, the division values are dependent on the parent business unit. That is what we are establishing an association. So division is dependent on the business unit. Based on the business unit you select, the divisions will come. So based on the business unit you select, the divisions to be coming up. If I don't have business unit at all, no divisions at all. If I choose a business unit, that business unit related divisions only will come. So if I choose corporate related divisions only will be coming in the drop down. That way. So that is how you will have the business unit division combination that works. Where if business unit is valid, division is valid. If business unit is invalid, it is blank. Even divisions also says no data. So that is called valid when type of association. When parent is valid, then only the child is valid. That is a valid when association type that they give. Okay, so this is how we have this one-liner association that we have to set up, guys, by just giving some name to the association. Multiplicity as one to many, to which object you want to associate, and type of association as valid when or what you have to give this. So with this one-liner association is where on the division screen the business unit field has been already present. Now on the business unit, if you want to get your parent as legal entity, so how to get that is what we are now going to look towards. If I have to have the legal entity association coming here, where should I go and work on the association, guys? On the business unit screen, if legal entity association should come, where should I go and work on the config?
Configure object definition.
Excellent. Which object in the configure object definition? Which object in the object definition?
With the business unit, right?
Exactly. So because on the business unit screen is where we are expecting to get the legal entity. So business unit screen only we have to go. So let's go for the business unit. So here in the business unit, if I select the business unit related fields, all that will be coming up. Where business unit fields, whatever are present on the screen, they are coming from. But here, if you clearly make some observation, guys, on the business unit screen, how many fields you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields max. But on the actual business unit related screen, you see how many fields you have. So in this, you clearly observe there are some fields called MDF system fields. MDF system, all these are MDF system fields. So only the other fields which are non-MDF will appear on the front end. The MDF related printed fields are the system fields, they will never appear on the front end. They are the MDF system fields, they will never appear on the front end. The other fields which are non-MDF, the code of the business unit, name, description, status, head of the business unit only, they will appear on the front end. That's why the list every time appears a bit more, but actually you don't have those many fields. So after the field section is done, is where if you go down, we have an associations area, and here we are equal to the config. Okay. Now somebody guide me, how should I fill this? I'm going to editable mode. Now here at the bottom, how should I start filling this association? So which object are we associating, guys? Division is getting associated to
Business unit.
sorry. Now we are doing business unit association.
Legal entity.
It is associated with legal entity. Legal entity is the parent. What should be the multiplicity that we should use?
One to many.
One to many.
There's no choice. One to many only have to use. Now, what is the type of association we have to use?
Valid when.
Valid one is only the type that we have to use when we are working on foundation objects. And for this, you give a name. Anything you give it is okay. I just give it as 2LE. 2LE is to legal entity. Cast underscore 2LE is what I have given name. That's it with these 4 fields. Just save your config. So now once this is done, now here the business unit screen, which is the existing screen, I'll be duplicating this, and the business unit the way you have previously you do not have anything. And the newly created business unit screen, you have the legal entity related association coming up. 2LE is the name that we have given. With the same name it started appearing. Okay. Now if you want to have it displayed meaningfully, again go in the editable mode in the object definition, and here you will have the association related details. When you go into the association details, here you have an option as label. So here this label is what you can relabel. You can remove it to LE and maintain it as legal entity. Right. You can then and go to the bottom and save this. We have just added one more label here. And if I refresh this new screen, so 2LE will be represented as legal entity. Right. On the business unit screen, we started having the legal entities. That is how we bought an association. Where previously business unit is not associated with the legal entity, but now it is. If I want to link this business unit with one of the legal entities, you can choose from that, and we can choose that. Any questions around? So this is one type of association, guys. We still have association of custom MDF objects as well. Again, that's another discussion that we'll take up in the next session. We'll have a recap of this once, and we'll continue with the next session regarding the custom associations. So it's simply a one-liner association. That is all what it makes happen. Okay, that's all from my end for now. Any other queries from Jay?
Yeah, my question is, association can be created multiple?
We can definitely, but that will be of no use. Primary will be the main focus. Even you add multiple at the bottom, technically system doesn't stop you. Every time relationship will be required to one object to the other parent layer. That's it.
Okay.
This is for now. Let's again connect back on next Saturday, and we'll complete off this org structure con. Thank you and all. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah, that whatever supporting documents you are using, whether it is PPT or this Excel, we have not received this.
Which one you did not receive?
Have you mailed or it is in doc?
In the blog also it is there. I had even mailed to the contacts who are in touch with me already. check your mail. You'd have already received it. Check it. Else, if your mail ID is missed it, I'll resend it. I'll also cross check. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Log everybody will have it, guys. Just as a backup, I'm just sending it. Even if I don't send, it's not mandatory. In blog and the materials tab, once you go into the Drive, Google Drive links and all, you'll find everything for sure.
Can we map concurrent employment also in SuccessFactors?
Yeah, we have a concept called concurrent employment. Next, we have this global assignment. These concepts are also there.
Okay.
Those will be the add-on topics about the core employee central. That will be not part of our context.
Okay.
I can share the relevant documentations if required. Those work on the core employee central basics, what we learn.
Okay.
We have many things on core employee central that keep on extending: concurrent employment, global assignment, time management. Next, you have position management, payroll, benefits, advances. Things keep on going on employee central. So when it comes to the learning part, it will be on the core employee central. Till position management and leave management is only what we deal with. Where in certification of AEC, only core will be there. Even position management and leave management will also be not in certification. So on the basis of the core EC is where all other areas are developed, which all works on this MDF platform. Once we get this employee central MDF basis, so all that will be on the same structure.